Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. So as you can see, today is the hashtag part 2 of how to shade the dark, glossy, shiny skin with just two pencil and without the gel pen. Yes, with just two pencil and without the gel pen, you'll be able to shade a dark, glossy, realistic, like hyper realistic skin. And the two pencil that everyone have, I'm using that one two pencil, and yes, without the gel pen. So yeah, without further ado, let's get jump right in, let's get started. Okay, so the first pencil I'm using is the B grade pencil. Everyone's have B grade pencil. It's not like a branded B pencil or any of the Faber-Castell B grade pencil, just a normal graphite B grade pencil. And I'm first just shade the first just do the outline to just determine her right shape of the skin, because sometimes we just sketch and sometimes the you know what, like if you did start straightly shading, so maybe sometime you just missed the skin shape. So yeah, I first focus on the darkest areas. I always say I first starting with the darkest area, and I first shade the darkest shadows of her skin, and I leave the highlighted area because we pick the portrait, they pick the picture that have a high contrast and with the very high shiny glossies shine. So we pick that one portrait, so that's why. And now I'm blending with the cotton bud. Always save your already used cotton bud because it helps a lot with the shading skin and anything. So yeah, always save your already used cotton bud. Oh, now I'm just adding the second layer with the B grade pencil. First layer I lightly add and focus on the darkest area, and then I add the second layer with the same B grade pencil. And now unfortunately my camera just turned off and I don't know about it, but I add three layers of the B grade pencil, and then the sixth layer I'm going to add with the 6B grade pencil. Yes, with the 6B grade pencil, and I blend all of those layers well. And now with the 6B grade pencil I focus on the very darkest areas, but my portrait, like the drawing is shining a bit, so that's why you can see it clearly, but I'm focused on the high contrast area, means that darkest areas, and with the through 6B grade pencil, and then blend it well. I work until it looks realistic. Always work until it looks realistic, and make sure the darkest looks darkest, because if the darkest not looks darkest and you didn't balance the darkest and the highlights areas, your drawing looks flat. That is the big reason of the flat portraits, that the darkest areas are not look darker. It looks pretty much similar to the lightest or the medium shades area. And now as you can see, I'm using the kneaded eraser to highlight those highlighted area that I leave. I never add a layers on it, and I add some highlights with the kneaded eraser, then I shade blend the edges of those highlights, because if you just add a highlight and it didn't make it like looks realistic, you if you want to make it looks realistic, you have to add a highlight that is blended with the darkest area, that not looks like like that highlighted separately. It looks blend, so it looks realistic. Now I always step back and darken up some darkest areas and add more highlights. You have to make sure that your highlights looks highlights, your darker looks darker, and your medium shades and medium all the medium shades looks medium, and it not looks similar. If the darkest again not darker, and the highlights and the darkers are important. If the highlights not looks highlighted and the darkers not looks darker, the drawing start looks flat. So make sure that all of your darkest areas is dark enough and it's shining, that's why you can see. But right now the edge of the skin is pretty much darker. I add so many layers to make it look darker, and now I'm using the normal eraser to add some more highlights, because I want the highlights to be looks highlighted. And yeah, I also use a cloth to make a to blend it, and you can use a tissue paper, but right now I just don't have a tissue paper. It's placed like a little bit forward from me, and I don't have like enough strength to just go and pick it, so that's why I use a cloth, but I make sure use a tissue paper. Now for the chin, I add a first layer with the B grade pencil. I add like 2 layers of B grade pencil, but I'll leave the highlighted area highlighted, and then I use a 6B grade pencil with the very light pressure. I always use a 6B grade pencil with the very light pressure with the skin, and sometimes I want the darkest areas to be looks more darker on the skin. I add just a bit pressure. And if you want to know that pressures, that where you have to add a pressure, where you have to release, so you have to watch that one video where I just clear everything about the pressure and how to add, how to release. And as you can see, now I'm focused on the darkest area more. I just more focus on the darkest area and leave the highlighted area highlighted. If always start with, if you are confused with the skin that how I start, where I start, so just look at the darkest areas of the skin first. Start with the darkest areas of the skin and leave the highlighted areas highlighted, and then blend it out. And the medium tones that looks like not highlighted but have a very thin layer of shading, you can just blend it with the darkest areas together to give them the value of medium shades. And now as you can see, I'm still using the 6B grade pencil, and with the 6B grade pencil I'm first starting. As you can see, I first focus on the edges of, because the light is hitting from the right side, because the light is hitting from the right side, so the left side have more like the darkest shadows, and the edges of the face, left side edges of the face has a very darker, have a very darker shadows. And that's why I first start with the 6B grade pencil there. And now I pick the B grade pencil again, focus on the same process is the same, focus on the darkest areas of the left side of the skin. As you can see, I first add the thin layer with the B grade pencil. I'm still pick it down. Now I pick the 6B grade pencil to just darken up some darkest areas that need to be dark enough on the area that I already shared the chin. Now again pick the B grade pencil and give the light layer of the skin with the B grade pencil. And first layer I use B grade pencil lightly, focus on the darkest areas, and then for the second layer again focus on the darkest area and leave the highlighted area highlighted. I didn't add any shade on it. And now again I pick the 6B grade pencil, just step back, darken up some darkest area. Now with the soft brush I blend the highlighted area a bit with the darkest area, because the left side have like a shadow, so the light is not that light, highlighted is not that highlighted enough, so that's why I blended with the darkest area to give it a very thin layer of shading. As you can see, again pick the 6B grade pencil, always step back and darken up your darkest area, because when you start, like when you done with the eyes, nose and lips and then start shading the skin blending, so the darkest area have like a thin layer of the graphite powder, so that's why they not looks dark enough. So you always need to step back and darken up those darkest areas, always step back and darken up those darkest area, because if you don't, then your drawing start looks bland. So that's why I was stepping back and darkening enough some darkest area. Again pick the B grade pencil, add some layers on the skin, the second third layer of, and then blend it out. So for the skin I use the 3 or 4 layer of B grade pencil, 3 layer is okay. And then for the fourth layer I use a 6B grade pencil, first with the very light pressure adding some darkest shadows, and then with the very darkest area I add a bit pressure, but not the very hard pressure to damage my paper, because I'm using the very ordinary normal paper, not meant for sketch. It's just like a printing paper or whatever you call it. Now as you can see, step back and darken up the darkest areas with the 6B grade pencil, blend it out with the cotton bud, and then with the soft brush. If you have a soft brush, that's good. If you have a cotton bud, better. If you have both, that work very good together. Now as you can see, again darkening enough some darkest areas, just looking at my portrait that if somewhere needs to be dark enough, because the darkest tones are very important. It's like a jam on the bread. Darkest areas are very important. If you didn't darken up the darkest areas, your portrait never looks realistic. So the darkest are very important. Now it's time to shade the forehead. Again focus on the darkest area with the B grade pencil. First I just do the outline with her bangs that come on like between on her forehead. I first outline that, and then as you can see, very thin layer of B grade pencil focusing on the darkest shadows of her forehead and leave the highlighted area highlighted. As you can see, this is the first layer with the I grab my pencil on a very top, not end of the pencil but very beginning of the pencil to add a very light pressure. Blend it out with the soft brush. Again, this is the second layer of the big wet pencil. Still focus, and please ignore those housefly. I don't know, just get access to my room and it's hard to get him out, so please ignore it. It's just bothering me flying around my front of my camera, so please ignore it. And now, as you can see, this is the second layer of the big wet pencil. Still focus on the darkest areas. Like I'm telling one thing again and again in my all videos, all fast shading video, that focus on the darkest area. This video is a bit different from the others because I'm only using the two pencils and a normal pencil, normal paper, sorry, and the without the gel pen. I'm just shading this beautiful dark glossy skin, and it's not look that much darker because as you can see, maybe you notice that the skin starts dry. So now I add the three layers, the three layer of the big red pencil, and then the fourth layer is the for the six big red pencil. Again, focus. Now as you can see, I focus more on the darkest areas of the forehead, just darkening enough the darkest area of the forehead and the shadow of that bang. I just make sure that it looks dark enough, looks highlight looks highlighted, and it looks realistic. So as you can see, as I say, the left side have more shadows, so I focus more on the left side. Again, blended with the already used cotton bud. It's helped me so much with those skin shades. So yeah, if you have already used cotton bud, just use it. Don't just waste your used cotton bud, because it's helped you so much with in future. So yeah, as you can see, I highlight enough I add some more highlighted with the highlights area. You always need to step back and highlight it, highlight enough your highlighted area, because again, when you blend your highlight also have a thin layer of graphite, so you have to again and again highlighting it to make it looks realistic. Now again, as you can see, step back, darken up some darkest areas, and now it's time to shade the skin. This housefly is bothering me again and again, so please ignore it. I'm so sorry. But yeah, with the neck, again, it's the same process, but at the neck, as I say, left side high up the more darkest shadows, because the light is hitting from the right side. Yeah, like better on the front but the right side. So as you can see, first layer is the big red pencil. For the big red pencil, I add first layer with the big red pencil, and I first outline with the six big red pencil her collars and other her edges of the neck, because her hair is very dark black, so that's why I first and also her chin, her jawline, I dark it, outline it with the six big red pencil, because the next is going to be so much darker, and next have a very high darkest shadows. So yeah, three layer with the big red pencil, but because the neck have a very dark shadow, I add four layer with the big red pencil, and then four layer, and with the fifth layer is the six big red is for the six big red pencil. So I pick the six big red pencil and add the fourth layer. Again, focus on the very darkest shadows and add a bit pressure. Again, if you don't know about the pressure, which pressure I'm talking about to add, you have to watch my that one video. I'll put the link on the description. And as you can see, I focus on the very darkest shadows with the six big red pencil. The shadow of the downside of her jawline, her chin, and the left side of the neck, as I have a very darkest shadow, a very high darkest shadow, so I added. And with the highlighted area, still using the big red pencil for the highlighted area, and I blended out again, and I blended out the edges of the highlighted area, because I don't want to make it looks like it's separate and not looks as realistic as it needs to be. So I add, and I will make sure you blend well. I make sure every single layer you blend well, because if you don't, then your drawing start looks like unrealistic and have like a pencil stroke, and it looks so ugly. So yeah, as you can see, I add the two layers of the six big red pencil, maybe three layers of the six big red pencil, because the six big red pencil I am not adding too much pressure, that's why six big red pencil I have to use again and again. So the three layers for the big red pencil for the skin, and then 2 to 3 layers with the 6 big red pencil, but with again step back and darkening enough some darkest areas, so it may be like around 5 layer. But I always say, work enough work until sorry work until that then that your drawing looks realistic. If your drawing not looks realistic, if the darkest you still feel that the darkest need to be more darker, just make it more darker. Work until your drawing, your portrait looks realistic, your sketch looks realistic. And when once you determine, once you know that it looks realistic and it's realistic enough, no need to work more, just stop that, and then your portrait is done. But you have to work until, I always work until then my drawing, that my sketch looks realistic. I adding layer, but not too much layer that damage your paper. Now we are done with her neck, but it's not look dark enough because again it's because of shining. I'm just changing my camera angle, I do everything, but the shining is not letting me, so please ignore that. I will show you the picture of her and the video of her at the end, that how it looks like. Now for her bang, I'm using the 6B grade pencil. I straight go with the 6B grade pencil because she have a very darkest looking hair, and hair don't have highlights, it's highlights, so that's why I straightly go with the 6B grade pencil. And try to, yeah, with the hair I always say you have to focus on the direction, so I determine the direction and start drawing her hair on that direction. I just drawing the bang on this video, and then the hair video is coming soon. And I already upload her eyes, nose and lips sharing video. I put the link on the description, so if you want to draw with me, so you can just start with that one video and then watch this one video, then come back and watch this one video. So there, as you can see, I'm just stepping back and darkening enough some darkest areas, and we are done with our beautiful realistic glossy skin girl. And I hope that you liked today's video. I hope you learned something. I hope this video is helpful for you. Thank you so much guys for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.